I'm not defensive about it.
Yes, people, what's happening? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another live stream. Welcome to all your latest Chelsea news and welcome to what is potentially the biggest 7 or 8 days of the season coming up. Arsenal and Aston Villa back-to-back away in the next 2 games. And I feel like these next 2 results are going to determine whether we do or don't finish in the top 5 in the Premier League this season. We're going to be diving into all the latest Chelsea stuff, the race for those Champions League places. Can we get there? Have we got what it takes to get the results in this upcoming run of fixtures? And just what exactly is going on at Chelsea right now, or what, for a matter of fact, isn't going on at Chelsea right now? Can we finish in the top 5? The ramifications for not finishing in those top 5 positions, and plenty of other bits and pieces to dive into. Going to be very interested to hear what your guys' thoughts on the situation is as well. But big up to everyone that's locked in. Make sure you're smashing the likes. Make sure you subscribe if you're new around here. All of that good stuff. Get your thoughts in the chat as well, guys. That is greatly appreciated. But before we get into it, make sure you check out Jerseys FC Soccer Shop. Link is in the description. Use code Blue Brother for 20% off. Great quality, affordable prices, names, numbers, patches, whatever you want, guys. All your Chelsea kits, your retro Chelsea kits, retro kits in general, other teams, World Cup jerseys, whatever you want, guys. Make sure you don't miss out. Use code Blue Brother for 20% off. Jerseys FC Soccer Shop. Link is in the description. Now, that's enough about that. Let's see what you lot are saying about the current situation at the club. I don't see Chelsea getting Champions League football. I hear it. If it means Blueco sells shares if we don't make CL, so be it. Bro, to be honest, I don't think it will mean that. Big up to you, brother. Project's not working. I agree it's not working. And the evidence is there to support that. I don't see Chelsea beating Arsenal at the Emirates on Sunday. No, we'll dive into that a little bit more. But I think it's going to be very tricky. Yes, big up to you, brother. Hope you're well. Big up. Yes, big up, bro. Brace yourself. Yeah, it's not going to be great. Win, lose, or draw, Blue go out. I think Chelsea will finish 3rd. Bro, I'd love to have that confidence and that optimism that you've got, but we're going to have to pull out some results from games that and do stuff that we've not shown that we're capable of doing over the last 6 months. There's going to have to be a big change, a big change and a big upturn in form if we're going to do anything over this next 10 or 11 matches. Now, let's dive into it. We know the current state of the Premier League table. Let me just bring that up now. We, as Liam said himself after the Burnley game, we've set fire to 4 points in the last 2 home games. And a costly 4 points at that as well. Real costly 4 points. So this is the state of play now. We dropped 3 points behind Man United now. We're now level on points with Liverpool. That 4-point buffer that we had over Liverpool is now totally evaporated in the space of a week. Dropped 3 points behind United, and we're still 6 points behind Aston Villa when we could have easily closed that gap to 2 or 3 points. Once again, failing to take advantage of other teams slipping up. Villa dropping points at home to Leeds, and you thought Chelsea just see out the result against Burnley, close that gap by another 2 points. We should be 4 points closer to Aston Villa, and we'd be 2 points behind them. We would be 2 points behind Aston Villa, and we'd be above Man United if we had won those 2 games. If we'd won those 2 games, and you can't expect those things to not have consequences, And, people can talk about the manager, but ultimately for me, it just doesn't matter about the manager, because when you've got the same group of players now under 2 totally different managers, clearly not listening to instructions, clearly not understanding what to do on the football pitch, this is a player issue. This is a player quality issue. And this is something that these guys on the pitch need to take a long, hard look at themselves. And I genuinely believe now, chat, that if we're going to make the top 5, these next 2 games coming up, Arsenal and Villa, anything other than 4 points, it's curtains, in my opinion. It's curtains. Anything can happen in football, but anything other than 4 points is looking very, very difficult for us. Very difficult for us, because this weekend, right? Aston Villa travel to Wolves on Friday night. You'd fully expect Villa to beat Wolves. If we lose to Arsenal, that's a 6-point swing on Villa in a weekend. So that 5-point gap, that 6-point gap to Villa could become 9 if they beat Wolves and we lose to Arsenal, or it will be 7 if we draw. So we could be heading to Villa Park next Wednesday 7 points behind Aston Villa, needing to go into that game having to win. Our battle, unfortunately, chat, our battle's not with Man United and Liverpool. I think our battle's with Aston Villa. As much as I hate Man United and think they're not good, but them playing 1 game a week, I think you can almost nail them on for a top 5 finish. Liverpool, they're going to be hit and miss like us. Aston Villa have got the most important thing, really, and that's points on the board. Points on the board. And look, all the teams, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, we've all got to play each other still. We've got to play Villa. We've got to play United. We've got to play Liverpool. And so you could say, do you know what? It is still in our hands. And technically, it is still in our hands. But we have to better the results of those teams around us. We're going to need to go to a Villa and win. We need to beat United at Stamford Bridge. And we're probably going to have to go to Anfield and win as well. Things that we do, something that we've not done for quite a significant amount of time, chat. For quite a significant amount of time, we have not been able to do that. And so this is where I'm getting a little bit concerned, people, is that we've got to do something that we've not shown that we're capable of doing. Losses to Arsenal, City, Villa, United. No, I don't think we'll lose that many games. We'll get something from Arsenal and Villa game. It's either 4 points or 2 points. Bro, I'll be honest. I don't see us getting 4 points, because I've not seen anything to suggest that we're going to be able to go to these 2 tough away games against 2 teams who are better than us and get the job done. I'd love us to get the job done. I'd love nothing more than for that to happen. But going on the evidence that we've seen so far, I don't see how this lot are capable of doing it. If we don't win Sunday, it's a wrap. We're not winning. I'm actually tired, bro. I've had enough. I'm wishing the worst on these blue co lot. Look, I personally can't see us winning. Stranger things have happened in football. Look, I think we're capable of getting a draw. I think we're capable of frustrating them. But it's very difficult to have confidence in the team right now. It is very difficult to have confidence in the team right now. If you look at the difficulty of the fixtures that we've got coming up, and I know, do you know what? Fixture difficulty isn't necessarily an accurate indication as such, but you look at it. Can we all see that all right? You look at that situation and you look at what, let me see if I can zoom in on this a little bit more. Is that a better chat? That looks slightly better. Anyway, but the point is, right, is that statistically, according to the Athletic, they would have got this data from Opta, from the main stats guys. The difficulty of the fixtures. So Chelsea, out of the remaining fixtures left, have got, other than West Ham, we have got statistically the toughest fixture list of anyone. And then you look at the teams we're going to be competing with. Man United, Liverpool have got statistically the 5th easiest fixtures. United, a bit higher than us. Villa have got, all right, Villa's fixtures are quite tough as well. They've got the easiest, right at the top there. So this is what I mean. You're looking at everything that's going against us. We are going to have to do this the hard way if we want to qualify for the Champions League. That's the reality. We've got to do it the hard way. And you look at it, right, and people are saying, we've got a good away record this season. We do have a good away record this season. But what I would say to that is, when was the last time we won a big away game? And no one can tell me. When did we last win a big away game in the Premier League. We haven't beaten Arsenal anywhere since 2021. When did we last win at Villa Park outside of the FA Cup game under Mauricio Pochettino? When did we last win at Villa Park in the league? When did we last win at the Etihad? When did we last win at Old Trafford? When did we last win at Anfield? And people are talking to me about we've got good away form this season. We do, but what I don't understand is where guys are getting confidence from to suggest that we can go to these grounds and do something we've not done for a number of years. That's for me is where I'm suddenly a bit lost. And we've got to be honest though, chat. 4th place is not an achievement this season. 5th place is not an achievement this season. You know, where are the standards here? Finishing 4th or 5th, I don't want to see anybody at the end of the season, if that happens, giving that a round of applause. That is the bare minimum. Bare minimum. If we somehow finish 3rd, then fair enough. You know, that is an improvement on last season. We would have had a pretty incredible end to the season, and that would deserve props. But this season, chat, this season was about improving on last season. And we simply haven't done that. We failed to prepare. We failed to prepare for not having Colwell. You know, yeah, okay, we didn't have Cole. People will say Chelsea didn't have Cole Palmer. Chat, how many games do you think we've won with Palmer in the Premier League this season? I know he's not been available for a lot of games. Chelsea have won 4 Premier League games this season with Cole Palmer in the team. 4. So people talk to me about, oh, you know, Palmer's been a big miss. Palmer's been a miss. But our form hasn't massively improved with him in the team. It hasn't massively improved. And so, yes, of course, whilst Chelsea are much better with Cole Palmer in the team, and we want Cole Palmer fit, available and playing, we've won 4 matches with him available this season. 4 matches. You know, it's collective responsibility. And it all starts from the top. And Palmer has been a big miss. But Palmer's absence is not the main reason for where we are, for where we're at. Palmer's absence is not the main reason for where we're at. Do you know what the most frustrating thing about all this, Joe? These other teams are average themselves. We should be further up the table, but we keep dropping stupid points. Yeah, this is exactly it. Because we've got players who aren't mature enough, who aren't ready for this level of responsibility. You look at, we're 4 years into the project now. 4 years in with umpteen billions spent, and we are throwing away 19 points from winning positions in year 4 of the project. We're throwing away 19 points from winning positions. Even if you held on to half of those points, right? Let's give us an extra 9 points. Plus an extra 9 points onto our total, right? If we've held on to half of those leads, we'd be on 54 points and we'd be 2 points behind Man City. This is the frustrating thing, right? Is that there have been so many opportunities this season for us to comfortably be in that Champions League race, comfortably in the Champions League race. And time after time, we just let ourselves down. We let ourselves down, chat, every single time. Bro, it doesn't matter about whether we do better in the Cups. Yeah, we've done reasonably well in the Champions League so far. But our season's not defined on the Champions League. The league is the bread and butter, you know. And we have not had a competitive league side for years and years and years. And that doesn't look like it's changing anytime soon. It does not look like it's changing anytime soon. Chat, we're 64 in the building. There are 20 likes. That is a disgusting ratio of likes to viewers. People, quickly close the live chat, smash that like button, get this up to 50 likes minimum. We should be heading well towards 100 likes, guys. So please close the live chat, quickly smash the thumbs up button. It really helps me out. Let's run these likes up because that is disgraceful. Absolutely disgraceful, chat. We're better than that. Yep, Cole, he's been out the whole season. Palmer has been a one-season wonder, but I don't think he has been a one-season wonder. I disagree with that. I think at times he was good last season as well. He put good numbers up. The lack of creativity and precision in the final third was quite appalling against Burnley. Yeah, it was. That was really, really bad. And that, for me, is why I called it one of our worst, if not the worst performance of the season. Worst performance of the season. I will bring up last year's run. But look, ultimately, and I said this in a video that I did yesterday, why as fans, other than purely wanting to be able to keep our best players, why should we be bothered about whether we finish in the top 5 or not? Because we saw last summer that finishing in that getting Champions League football makes no difference to what we do on or off the pitch. Makes no difference at all. You know, we were lied to last summer about how if we get Champions League, you know, our level of targets, the caliber of player we're going to sign is going to go up. We're going to start, you know, paying bigger wages for better players. And then we sign Garnacho, Gittins and Delap for 120, 130 million quid. All of them not good enough. Look at Man United. Man United made impactful summer signings. Cunha, Mbeumo, Sesko. Tammy Abraham joined Villa last month. He's already scored the same amount of Premier League goals as Liam Delap. Already scored the same amount of Premier League goals as Liam Delap. So constantly players are under-delivering, chat. Players are not performing to the level required. They're not performing to the level required. Yeah, run it up, chat. Run it up, run it up. And this is my point, right, is that when you look at the fixtures that we've got left, there is no point, guys, in my opinion, okay, unless we get 4 points from Arsenal and Wolves. Sorry, Arsenal and not Wolves. Sorry, unless we get 4 points from Arsenal and Villa, there's no point getting caught up in this top 5 conversation. There really isn't, in my view. There really isn't. Because there'll be too much for us to do. There'll be too much for us to do. The idea that we need to go to Anfield and probably win. We have to go to the Emirates and potentially win. We have to go to... We've got Man United and City at Stamford Bridge. Our home record is diabolical. Diabolical, chat. It's a real big problem. It's a real big problem. And I don't know. I don't know how we fix up. I genuinely don't know how we fix this. Because we're just making the same mistakes over and over again. You know? And it's very, very tricky, chat, to see the situation we're in right now. Because you look at what we're on, right? We're on 45 points. I imagine that 66, 67 points gets you that. I imagine top 5, 66, 67 points. So with 11 games left, let's call it 67 points. You need 22 points from a possible 33 remaining. So you need 7 wins and a draw. And then you look back at the drop points against Leeds and Burnley. Those that doesn't come without consequences. You're going to be punished for that sort of thing. You know, and look, the fixture list is difficult. Arsenal, Villa, Newcastle, City, Liverpool, United, Spurs. What we can say, chat, is our records at Stamford Bridge against Newcastle and Spurs exemplary. Even with our disgusting home form this season, I still fully expect 2 W's from Newcastle and Spurs at home. Everton, Sunderland, and Brighton away, tough. Really tough. But our race, as I said at the top of the show, guys, our race is not with, in my opinion, Liverpool and Man City. Our race is with Aston Villa. Our race is with Aston Villa. That's what we got to be focusing on. But we lost advantage with that battle because it's going to come down to Villa Chelsea next week. We talk about needing to beat Arsenal. We need to beat Villa as well. Because we lose to Villa, that's like 7 or 9 points we would drop behind them. There could be a 6-point swing this weekend in that Chelsea-Villa battle. There could be a 6-point swing. Villa playing Wolves, us away at Arsenal. This is going to be tricky, chat. This is going to be very, very difficult. Very difficult. Rest winnable. Yeah, look, they're not impossible. But I wouldn't have confidence going to Villa Park that we would get a win. I just don't. I think we could get a point potentially, but I would be surprised, given what I've seen so far this season. I would be surprised if we went to Villa Park and won. I'd be surprised. I'd love to be surprised, but I don't have the confidence that we'll go to Villa Park and we'll be able to take the game to Villa and get the result. You look at other games. Look, I think we can beat Newcastle at home for sure. I think we can beat Man United at home as well. Man City at home, I think that's very difficult for us. Sunderland away is tough. I know Brighton away. I know Brighton are not great right now, but yeah, sure. But bro, what you're also failing to realise, we're not great either. We're not great either. We're not great either. So it's all very well saying United and Liverpool aren't great, which I agree with. United and Liverpool aren't amazing sides at all. But, bro, you also need to take into account that we're not very good either. We aren't very good. We aren't very good. But let's bring our run up. Let's look at the next 6. Let me just find this now. Let's look at the next 6, chat, because the next 6 are huge. Let me see. No, I'll find it on Google. Hold on. Okay, right. Let's bring this up, chat. Okay, so next 6, right? Arsenal away, Villa away. We've got Wrexham away in the cup, so forget that. So it's Arsenal, Villa, Newcastle, Everton, City, Chelsea. That's really tough. Really, really tough. I'll be honest, chat. Those next 4, Arsenal, Villa, Newcastle, Everton, those games in March, from those 4 games, 16 points available. 3. I'll be honest, chat. I think at best we get 6. I think we get 6 out of the 12 points available, from those next 4. I think we beat Newcastle at home. And I think we get a point against Villa. 3, 4. Sorry, 7 points. I think we can beat Everton away. I think we get a point from Villa. I think we beat Newcastle, but I think we lose to Arsenal. 6 or 7 from 12 for this next run. That's what I think we need. Yes, bro, but so have we. We've been shit as well. This is what so many Chelsea fans don't understand. They're always saying, "Oh yeah, but the Villa have not been good recently. Liverpool, Man United aren't great." Do you watch us? Have you seen what we've been doing? We've not been good either. We have not been good either. So, that point is not really, for me, that point's not relevant. That point isn't relevant because we've been shocking as well. Yeah, it's poor. It's beyond poor. Beyond poor. Let's bring up, we can have a look at Villa's fixtures as well. Right, we'll do the March ones. So Villa, Wolves away, obviously Chelsea at home, Man United away, West Ham home. So you look at Villa and you think win against Wolves, and you'd back a win against West Ham. Villa's record at Old Trafford, like ours, is terrible. So you wouldn't expect them to get anything from that. And then obviously at home to Chelsea, maybe they get a point. So let's have a look at this, right? If I'm just roughly guessing here, 3, 4, nothing, and then 3. I give Villa 7 from 12. So again, I'm giving Villa from their next 4 games similar to what we would get from our next 4. And that's not going to be enough. Bro, it doesn't matter about deserving to win. They found a way to win. Teams find ways to win. When you're not playing well and you're winning, you find a way to make sure you take the 3 points home. Those teams don't implode and self-sabotage like we do. Sport's not about deserving. Sport is about doing. And United did, and Liverpool did, and we didn't. Because we were arrogant. We laugh about Arsenal being bottle jobs. We are big bottle jobs as well. We've arguably been the biggest bottle jobs in the Premier League this season in terms of 19 points thrown away from winning positions. And so I don't get how, people can sit here and say, oh, Villa haven't been great. United and Liverpool aren't great. Oh, they didn't deserve to win. Guys, look at what we've been doing. Look at what we've been doing. And what we've been doing has not been good enough. It's been like this since the start of the season. Very close gaps in points in the top 4. Yeah, exactly. And the problem is, though, is that we never take advantage of it. We should be 4 points closer to Aston Villa, but we bottled it at home to Leeds and Burnley. And we've left ourselves with a very, very difficult task. Very difficult task. It is. It's a disgrace that we're back again having this same conversation about whether we're going to make the Champions League or not. That's not good enough, chat. I'm sorry. That is not good enough. Not good enough. to be in this position where, once again, despite money spent, we are going to go to the wire in a battle for the top 5. It's embarrassing. It's absolutely embarrassing. £200 million spent in the summer. I don't want to see a single Chelsea fan celebrating if we come 5th or 4th. That's not celebration worthy. That is pat on the back. You achieved the bare minimum expected. The bare minimum. You achieved the bare minimum, and we move on from there. I just don't see. I just don't see how are we getting a result at Arsenal? How is what I would say. You look at that Arsenal game coming up. Like, how do we beat? How what are we basing us potentially beating Arsenal on? You know, you look at the situation. No Wesley Fofana. For me, if Rosinia plays Tosin over Achimpong or Sarr against Arsenal, that's strike number 1 for me. That's red flag number 1 for Liam Rosinia. As far as I'm concerned, if he goes with Tosin over Sarr or Chalobah, Sarr or Achimpong. If he goes with Tosin at Arsenal, that's red flag number 1 for me. Red flag number 1. No, I highlighted the Chelsea March fixtures. That was the only ones that I was looking at going for the next month. Man United, I think, are nailed on because they're playing once a week. Villa have got the points on the board and that gap. We're 6 points behind Aston Villa. Is it 6 points or 5 points? We're 6 points behind Villa. So Villa can afford to lose 2 matches and still be ahead of us. They'll drop more points, but we will also drop more points. And so, for me, we're on the ropes now in terms of Champions League qualification. And as I said, if you don't get 4 points from Arsenal and Villa, then we're over the ropes and we're out. We're eliminated. Bro, he's better than Tosin. That's the point. Whether you think Achimpong is overrated or not, he is better than Tosin. Him or Sarr are both better than Tosin. Better than Tosin. Forget whether he's overrated. Tosin is not the future of Chelsea. Achimpong and Sarr are the future of Chelsea. Bro, you're just making excuses. We haven't been better than Aston Villa this season. We haven't been better than Man United this season. We've been on a par with Liverpool. If you want to run that red card gimmick, and it has cost us in certain games, let me bring up the red card graphic. Let me bring it up. So, because this is important for context. Right, here we go. Oh, where was it? Oh, yeah, I think it's here. Bear with me a sec, chat. Right, here we go. So, right, so this was a state of play. So we had 6 red cards in the Premier League. 0-0 when Sanchez gets sent off. We lose 2-1. Now, do we beat United? I don't know, given our shocking record at Old Trafford, but maybe we get a point. So maybe it's cost us a point there. The Chalobah versus Brighton. I mean, how we just imploded in that game was ridiculous. Gusto, obviously, we won. Caicedo, we drew 1-1. I think, to be honest, a draw against Arsenal was probably what we were going to do. Fulham obviously lost, and then but the thing is, though, right? You look at the red cards and you think, even the red card against Burnley, right? I didn't look at that as like, oh my god, that's so costly, because all we had to do was defend a corner. All we had to do was defend a corner, and that would have been fine. We would have beaten Burnley. We constantly let ourselves down time and time again. Time and time again, we let ourselves down. And last season, yes, we did overcome a tricky run, and we plucked out some form at the end of the season. We put a run together, which I don't think many of us expected, but we put a run together, and we were able to get into those top 4 places. Lightning doesn't strike twice. Lightning does not strike twice, chat. We've not been good enough at the end of the day. We haven't been good enough. And people can say, oh, yeah, but, Colwell and Sarr, whatever, this and that. But we only have ourselves to blame. We should have replaced Colwell, and we didn't replace him. We didn't replace Colwell. We had the opportunity to replace Colwell, and we didn't. We didn't replace him. So whose fault is that? That's our fault. That's our fault. We had opportunity to sign a centre-back in January. We chose not to. Whose fault is that? That's our fault. It's our fault. Bro, we shouldn't be making excuses. We shouldn't be making excuses, chat. Exactly. Like this is what, how many people just simply do not get this point, bro? The fact that we're in this situation in year 4 with £1.5 billion spent, and we're talking about scraping a 4th or 5th place finish. That's unacceptable. That is completely and utterly unacceptable to be talking about a 4th or 5th place finish in year 4. It's ridiculous. Bro, Burnley did nothing in that game. It gave them a bit of confidence. What chances did Burnley create outside of Ward-Prowse set piece delivery? What chances did they create when we went down to 10 men? 0. 0 chances outside of set piece delivery. So let's not do this that Burnley suddenly turned on the gas and were unbelievable when we went down to 10 men. They weren't. I agree. It gave them confidence. It gave them a belief. They didn't play any decent football. They weren't knocking it about. They weren't creating loads of open play chances. We lost that game. Red card made it more difficult for us. We lost that game because we were arrogant. We shouldn't have even been in a position where the red card even mattered. We should have been 2-3, 4-0 up in that game, and we didn't take our chances. We didn't take our chances. We were taking the piss. We disrespected the badge. We were knocking it about, tricks and flicks like we're 3 or 4-0 up. Players doing no-look passes. That's got nothing to do with a red card. This team doesn't learn. These players don't learn. We've got an inability to kill off football matches. And it's not a Liam problem. It's a Liam problem now, but it was a Maresca problem. We were doing this under Pochettino as well. We were throwing away leads in games. We were throwing away points at home to Burnley. We were throwing away points away at Sheffield United in that season. Bro, young players are going to make mistakes, but I would rather Josh play over Ashimpong, over Tosin every time, because Josh is the future and Tosin's not. Young players will make mistakes. Of course they will. But Josh is way better than Tosin, and Sarr is way better than Tosin. So any one of those two has to be playing away at Arsenal on Sunday. And if Rosenior just bottles it and goes with the safe choice of Tosin, then that's red flag number one. As I said, that'll be red flag number one on Rosenior for me. Simple as that. Red flag number one. Well, exactly. Bro, what are you talking about? They wouldn't even get what? So you think Burnley weren't capable of forcing a set piece if we had 11 men on the pitch? So what? So having a man less means that they were suddenly able to force a set piece. Bro, listen to the nonsense you're saying. Yeah, Gusto did a no-look pass. Yeah, he did a no-look pass. Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. But, you know, ultimately, all of these issues, chat, bro, have you watched Badia Shield play football? Bro, developing a player, by the way, developing a player is not putting them in for one match, taking them out if they make a mistake, and then banishing them for weeks on end. Developing a player is about sticking with them, giving them opportunities, allowing them to make mistakes, and allowing them to learn from those mistakes and rectify them. Developing talent is not putting a player in for a game, they make a mistake, and then you don't see them for weeks again. That's not developing talent. If you believe in someone, you stick with them through thick and thin. You don't just discard a player at the first point, at the first time of asking. You don't just discard a player because they make a mistake. You know? No one person is to blame. Collectively, the entire team are to blame because they are unable to see games out. They are unable to see games out. And we are making the same mistakes over and over again. Scoring early, not being able to get a second goal, becoming complacent, concede from a set piece. We're doing the same mistakes over and over again. This team's not learning. This team is not learning. You know, and the attitude of this team is poor, is really, really poor. There's complacency, there's arrogance, there's all these nasty little things that are creeping in. I'm not liking what I'm seeing from this group a lot of the time. This is a likable group of players, 100% it is. But guys, are you just not listening to the manager? Are you not listening on the training pitch? Like, what's going on here? What are we doing? Because every time this happens, players come out and say, we've got to learn. We need to be more clinical with our chances. We need to learn how to manage games better. And then the very next game, they make the exact same mistakes again and come out and say the same nonsense as before. I don't want to hear any more players coming out after games and saying, we need to take more chances. We need to learn. I don't want to hear any of that. I don't want to hear any of it. I don't want to hear any players coming out and saying, yeah, we need to learn. We got to do better. Because all you don't learn and you don't do better and you make the same mistakes time and time again. So what are we doing here? Something is fundamentally wrong. Something is fundamentally wrong with this team and these players. Were they not listening to Maresca? Are they not listening to Rosinia? Like, what's going on here? Because we seem to be incapable of learning. We're incapable of learning what to do. You know, there's unacceptable things going on at the football club right now. We have to get ourselves together. This is make or break now. This March is make or break for us. 4 big games, 3 of them away from home. An FA Cup 5th round tie as well. Serious shit's going down. Serious shit is going down in March. And I don't know if we've got the bottle for it, chap. I don't know if we've got the bottle for it. Champions League, you just don't know. You just don't know. I would be very surprised if we got to the semi-finals. I'd be very surprised. I think we'll get to the quarterfinals and that will become too much for us. Obviously, draw dependent. If we get Newcastle next round, obviously, I think we go through over 2 legs. If we get PSG in the last 16, I'm not saying it's impossible because it's not impossible, but I'd be surprised if we beat PSG over 2 legs. I would be surprised. I would be surprised. I wouldn't sell Enzo, no. Look, I would be happy to move Garnacho on. My only issue is that I don't trust these guys to bring in anyone better. So yeah, we can move Garnacho on, but I'm not trusting anyone better to come in. I'm not trusting anyone better to come in. Yeah, it's a big month. Bro, I think the majority of Chelsea fans didn't think we would beat PSG. That was a one-off game. We can beat them in a one-off game. Over 2 legs, I think we struggle, personally. As I said, it wouldn't be impossible, but I think we struggle. Bro, this team needs calling out. This team needs calling out because they've been getting away with this sort of nonsense for way too long. They've been getting away with this level of nonsense for way too long. Yeah, and that was based on all the teams that you would think would get through, and that didn't transpire. So I don't think saying before the tournament started that quarterfinals in the Club World Cup was a ridiculous take to have. I'm delighted we won. Fantastic, brilliant, great times. But saying that, you know, we'd make the quarterfinals of the Club World Cup before the competition even started, you know, I don't think that's bad at all. Yeah, the players absolutely have to be blamed. 100%. The players need to be taking serious blame, chap. The players need to be taking serious blame. Serious blame. Serious blame. You know, they've got to take serious responsibility. Serious responsibility, because the one constant, guys, the one constant throughout all of this, outside the ownership, has been the group of players. Has been the group of players. Bro, we have to blame players. Not being able to mark properly from set pieces is not an experience issue. That's just stupidity. Stupidity. These red cards, we aren't a dirty team. We just lack footballing IQ, and we lack critical thinking, and we lack the ability to make correct decisions in the right moments. No, they haven't. They haven't. But I think, as was shown by the protest, not enough of your general match-going fans really care too much about what's happening. That is the reality here. That is the reality here. Not enough players care about what's going on. Sorry, fans. Maybe players as well. Maybe players as well. Not enough care about what's going on right now. They don't care. And that's a real concern. A real concern, chat. Not enough players care. Right, and ultimately, the main thing this boils down to is a lack of quality. Lack of proven quality is what this boils down to. Complete and utter lack of quality. Bro, please tell me what's there to be overly positive about right now. We're still in the FA Cup, great. Champions League, we're in the knockouts. Let's see who we get. Let's see how that goes. Premier League wise, yeah, we can still qualify for Champions League. It's looking difficult. Year 4, and we're talking about finishing 4th or 5th still. What is the positives right now that I should be talking about? Please enlighten me. Am I missing some glaring positives that we should be talking about? Am I missing something? Maybe I'm missing something. I don't know. Chat, we're 100 in the building. We're only 60 likes. Run the likes up. Run the likes up. I want to be positive about stuff. I want to be positive about things. But I'm struggling to find many positives right now. And I would like to know what positives I've not spoken about. To be honest, I'd like to know what positives I've not spoken about that we should be speaking about and that should be mentioned. Because I am a little bit confused. Yeah, look, Palmer's been missing chances. He has. And that's not been good enough from him. That's not been good enough from Palmer. Absolutely. And he doesn't get a pass either. Yeah, bro, fighting for top 4 in year 4 of the project is not a positive. That's not a positive that we're fighting for top 4. I already said we're in the Champions League and the FA Cup. Great. I do support the team. I support the team every week up and down the country. I support the team. I don't like this ownership. And I don't think we're in a great position. When there's things to be positive about, I'm absolutely positive. Absolutely positive I am. But brother, I'll be real. Fighting for top 4 in year 4 of this ownership is not a positive. Fighting for top 4 in year 1, maybe I'd give you that. Maybe I'd give you that for year 1. We should never be fighting to finish in the top 4. Top 4 should be near enough a guarantee for us every single season. And we shouldn't be having to scrap for it tooth and nail. You know, bro, we weren't struggling to finish in the top 4 like this. I know one season under Tuchel it went down to the final game, but generally speaking, I get it. The landscape of the league is I get it. The landscape of the league is slightly different now. It's more competitive. More teams can potentially finish in the top 4. But yeah, it's not good. I don't know. I've not heard from him for a while. I mean, admittedly, I've not been live for a while. But yeah, I've not heard from him for a while. He's not commented on any videos recently. But yeah, you know, I'm sure if we beat Aston Villa, he'll be back in the chat. He'll be back in the chat if we beat Villa for sure, or if we beat Arsenal. I mean, look, I'll yeah. I mean, look. Truth be told, I don't know where he is. We did, bro. We did. We signed average players, and unfortunately, when you do that, and when you don't have good transfer windows, and when you sign players who aren't good enough and who aren't level raisers and players who aren't going to take you forwards to the next level, then this is exactly what is going to happen. Exactly what is going to happen, chat. Bro, I agree that the football is better to watch from an attacking point of view. However, the outcomes are still the same. The situation is still the same. Yes, it's better to watch and it's better from an attacking point of view, but we're still dropping points. We're still doing stupid stuff on the football pitch. And whether it's improved or not is a bit of a moot point because the outcomes are the same. Playing some better football, we're not putting more points on the board. We're still throwing games away. We're still making stupid mistakes. We've still got players who aren't learning from these mistakes. And so I do agree with you, bro, that the football has improved slightly. Yes. But how much does that matter when the outcomes are exactly the same as they were before? I think they would, because I think the finances that come with Champions League football are massive. There's no escaping that. The finances that come with Champions League football are massive. But the football's better, sure, but the overall outcomes. You know, bro, the point is, though, is that we need a top-class centre-back. I personally don't see us signing one. We need a top-class left winger. I don't see one coming. And we need a midfield player, and we need proper backup for Cole Palmer. We need a proper Cole Palmer alternative. The problem is, bro, we know that's not happening. We know that's not happening, chap. We know that's not happening. You know, we could finish 15th and these guys would still have a job and the strategy would still be the same. They've made it very, very clear the strategy is not changing. The strategy is not changing, chat. That has been made abundantly clear. Guys, we're still 100 in the building, only 62 likes. Smash that like button, get this up to 100 likes. Quickly close the live chat down, smash the thumbs up button, and then get back to it, chat. It does really help me out. It pushes the streams in the algorithm, gets more eyes on the channel. That's what ultimately we all want. So make sure you are hitting that like button if you haven't done so already. And please also subscribe to the channel if you're new around here as well. That would be absolutely fantastic, guys. It would be brilliant if you could do that. So please do that. The thing is, though, like even if the lap doesn't kick on, I think look, we already have Emmanuel Omega arriving. I genuinely think, chat, that we're going to be in a situation where no striker's going to come in unless the lap goes, because you've got Pedro, you've got Omega arriving. If you want it, but the problem is, though, do we even trust this lot to upgrade on the lap? Do we trust them to upgrade on the lap? Because I don't. I don't trust this lot to upgrade on the lap. Are you joking? And this is part of the reason, right, why I say that it wouldn't be a bad thing to have Jackson in the squad next season, because I know that this lot won't go and sign anyone better. That's the thing. I'm not advocating for Jackson based on, you know, we can't get better. But it's tough. It's tough out there. It makes sense just to keep Jackson, in my opinion, because I know this lot won't go and sign a better player. I mean, look, Nemecha is not a bad player. I wouldn't be against the Nemecha in the midfield. Iliman and Jai, million miles better than Gittins and Delap. Gittins and Garnacho. I would take Njai. Van der Ven, I don't think we sign a Van der Ven from Spurs. Iliman, and this is the thing, right? With the kind of signings that we're making, the sort of players that we target, I'd be bang up for an Iliman and Die on the left wing. 100% I would be. I'd be bang up for that. I mean, look, Omega scored 14 goals in Ligue 1 last season. This season he's had injury problems. Again, another player who, if we're being brutally honest, chat, just isn't really ready right now. Isn't really ready right now. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what else to say. Omega isn't really the answer. Bro, I would love us to get Julian Alvarez, but we all know that's not happening. We all know we don't do that stuff anymore. We all know we don't have that level of ambition, that level of intent. We know that, guys. But I would agree that Omega's not the answer. I would absolutely agree Omega's not the answer. Bro, I'd love Njai as well. And that's the sort of player you'd think we'd absolutely be capable of getting. The problem is, though, there'll be a lot of other teams after Njai as well. Apparently, he's a United fan. I don't know for certain. And United could certainly probably look at Njai themselves. I'm sure he'll be attracting interest from multiple clubs. So again, if we're genuinely interested in Njai, then we need to make sure we keep it stepping and we move quickly. I'd probably get Morgan. I'd probably get Rodgers, because you can play him on that left side. He's miles better than Garnacho and Gittins. He can drift in from that left side. For me personally, right, Look, I'd love Julian Alvarez, but I actually think it'll be better for us in terms of what we need to get Morgan Rogers and reintegrate Jackson. So I would have Rogers and then just leave Jackson as part of the squad and maybe get rid of the lap. I mean, look, would you send a Mega on loan and keep the lap next season? Would you get rid of the lap, whether it's loan or permanent, and have a Mega, Pedro, and Jackson? I don't really know, but I think for me personally, if that was genuinely possible, then I would rather have Rogers than Alvarez, and I would just reintegrate Jackson because I think a Morgan Rogers type player is going to be more important for us. Someone that can start on that left hand side and drift in, and also someone that will genuinely be an option for Cole Palmer as well. Would be an option for Cole Palmer as well. I think when he's fully fit, he is, but Panicelli's done very well. Panicelli has done very well. Big up to you, bro. Yeah, I think he would. But again, there's going to be more than one club interested in Morgan Rogers. There's going to be more than one club interested. So look, I think that's going to be. I think that's going to be tough. I think that will be tough for us. I think that will be very tough for us. Now, Alvarez from River Plate, originally Man City paid 14 or 15 million for him. And look, you say that. Yeah, and to be fair, you look at Andre Santos, for example, 13, 14 million pounds for him from Vasco da Gama. Similar sort of signing, but obviously in a different position. But we have shown that we are capable of making that kind of signing. That kind of signing is not beyond us, but we need more than that. We need better than that. Guiu's got no future at Chelsea. No future. He will either be loaned out or will be sold. Very simple. Loaned out or sold. Yeah, he's got no long-term future at Chelsea. The only reason he was signed is because there was a £5 million release clause. But yeah, it's not been good enough overall, chat. It really hasn't been good enough. And it's just so disappointing to be in this kind of position. Really disappointing to be in this sort of position. No, but Santos has proven to be a decent signing. I'm not saying that Santos is like some unbelievable player, but you would put that down as a good signing. I mean, I personally would put that down as a good signing. Maybe my idea of what a good signing is different to your idea, but yeah, I would certainly put that down as a good signing. Sure, he's not given chances, but he's also not better than Joao Pedro. And you could argue maybe he should get opportunities over Liam Delap, and I wouldn't be against that. But ultimately, Delap is above him in the pecking order. Delap's above him in the pecking order, guys. Simple. And of course they are. 100% they are. Yeah. But particularly the away fans, absolutely. But not enough of the home fans are, I don't think. Not enough of the home fans are. And that's just the reality. I think Santos was more than okay. Sava, big up to you, brother. I hope you're doing well, bro. I hope you're doing well. No, I wouldn't. Funnily enough, I wouldn't. I mean, yeah, Tadera is Tudor and all that, but yeah, bro, I don't really rate Igor Tudor like that. It's a very kind offer, though, mate. It's a very kind offer, but I will I'll politely decline and wish you all the best going forwards. But I'll be honest, bro. I thought that was a real strange appointment, given the situation you boys are in. To bring someone in who doesn't know the Premier League at all, I just don't get it. I think he's just set up to fail straight off the bat. For me personally, if it was me in charge, it might sound a bit mad, but for this sort of firefighting situation, it's not really about how good the coach is. It's about you need someone that knows the club, someone that can put an arm around the shoulder of the players. And mate, I would have gone with a Harry Redknapp, or dare I even say, I would have even gone with a Tim Sherwood. Just someone that knows the club, gets it, just an arm around the shoulder type person. And that for me would have been much better and probably much cheaper as well than going for Tudor. I just think the Tudor thing is real strange, to bring in someone who knows nothing about the Premier League for a 10-game slugfest at the bottom of the table. But hey, maybe you'll prove us all wrong. Maybe you'll prove us all wrong, mate. Bro, I hear it. I went to a Bromley game, actually. Was it Bromley? Yeah, I did. I went to a Bromley game in the summer. Chelsea under 21s versus Bromley. Or was it versus Barnet? No, I think I went Chelsea 21s versus Bromley in the summer. No, Tudor was a good player, by the way. Good player, but he didn't do a great job at Juventus. He didn't do a particularly great job when he was at Marseille. So yeah, it's interesting, really. It's an interesting one. To be honest, I still think they'll just about scrape together enough wins to stay up, but I would be majorly concerned as a Tottenham fan. Majorly concerned. But I think Spurs are fine. I mean, Sav already knows this. If he still watches, he already knows like the situation. But I think there's a lot of Tottenham fans now that are realizing that actually, do you know what? A little bit like Chelsea, it doesn't really matter who the manager is, because the problems are way bigger than the manager. The problems go to recruitment. The problems go to the board. You know, and Chelsea and Tottenham in that aspect are similar. That, yeah, okay, some managers, you know, will play better football than others, and ultimately Frank got to a point where he had to go. But Thomas Frank weren't the problem. Igor Tudor obviously won't be the problem. The next manager at Tottenham won't be the main problem. Just like Maresca weren't the problem at Chelsea. Just like when Rosenior eventually moves on, he wouldn't have been the main problem at Chelsea. You know, these are things that we need to realise, chat, is that for Chelsea, it doesn't actually matter really who the manager is. That's why I don't waste too much time talking on the manager, because ultimately it doesn't matter. If we miss out on UCL football, isn't it time to scrap the data? Bro, the data is never going to be scrapped. The data is never going to be scrapped. The data approach is always going to be there. It's always going to be there. And yeah, that's something that we need to it's something we need to work on. It's something we desperately need to improve. We just need to make better signings. We just need to sign better players. But we've shown that really since that massive January under Bowley, so that massive January 2023, where we signed Fernandez, where we signed basically since 2023, the January and the summer, where we made big signings, we haven't really done anything. Since 2023, really, Joao Pedro is the only decent signing we've made since summer 23. And when you think about it, that's mental, chat. Absolutely mental. Chat, we're 7 likes away from 80. We've got to be getting to at least 80 likes, guys. There's over 100 in the building. We're only 73 likes. Run it up, run it up. We've got to get this to 100 likes, guys, minimum. 100 likes minimum. Run it up, people. Run it up. I don't know. What it won't be is a mass exodus. It won't be a mass exodus, but there definitely be one. There'll definitely be one, for sure. I think there'll be one, maybe two, but there won't be some sort of mass exodus for sure. Yeah, and Steve to in fairness as well, but it's not many. It's not many. When you look at how many players we have signed and how many have actually turned out to be decent, the success ratio is very small, very small success ratio. Chat, very small. No, the squad's not good enough to win the Champions League. But do you know what? Sometimes sometimes you don't need the best squad. Sometimes you don't need the best squad. Yeah, I think that's one that you've got to keep a very close eye on. I genuinely, I wouldn't be surprised at all if these guys looked to move him on. I wouldn't be surprised at all. It's a big decision to be made in the summer with Kukurella. Massive decision. Massive decision, guys. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see. We will have to wait and see. But yeah, the big decision is going to be taken. And I don't think he will sign a new deal. I don't think he will, because there was improved terms signed last year, but no extension in terms of contract length, which I thought was quite telling. 100%. You don't need to be the best team in Europe to win the Champions League. The 2 times we won it, we proved that. Yeah, yes, it's not a new deal in terms of length. The contract length was the same. He signed improved terms, so he basically signed a pay rise. Kukurella got a pay rise, but it wasn't in terms of the length of the deal. The length of the deal remained the same. He's out of contract in 2028. 2 years left in the summer. Same as Reece James, same as Trevor Chalobah, and whatnot. So all Kukurella signed was improved terms. Contract length remained the same, and so that for me was quite telling. That for me was quite telling. Yeah, this is true. You know, you're going to have Hato, but you'd have to go and sign another left back. You'd have to go and sign another first choice left back. And the point is, there's no left backs out there really better than Kukurella other than Nuno Mendes. Bro, Hato's not ready to play week in, week out as the starter. No chance. We'd have to go and get another top quality left back. And when you've already got one, it just doesn't make sense to not have one. You know, I think we'd be making a big mistake selling Kukurella. A big mistake. I really do. But it's one that wouldn't surprise me. Even with Champions League, for me, out of the first team players, I would say he's the one I'm looking at that I think that I'd be worried the club would look to move on. He'd be one that I'd be worried the club are looking to move on. But we have to wait and see. We have to wait and see. But no, look, if we miss out on the Champions League, I'm not expecting some sort of mass exodus. No, I'm not expecting a mass exodus. I think one, maybe two go. One, maybe two. That's it. There won't be a mass exodus. Over a number of years, there might be, but I'm not expecting no mass exodus if we miss out on Champions League football. Absolutely not. I don't see that at all, personally. I don't see it. Yeah, bro, I think you're pretty much nailed on. Playing once a week, I think you're pretty much nailed on, unless you have a massive drop-off in form. I'd be surprised if you weren't in the top 5. I would be surprised. I expect you to be there. I fully expect you to be there. But for Chelsea, it's looking difficult, guys. It is looking difficult. This is so big for us. I potentially think we have bottled it, to be honest. Bro, Chilwell is not better than Kukurella. What are we doing? Come on, bro. What are we doing? Let's not do that. Yeah, and this is the thing, though, bro. Like at this point, this shouldn't still be happening. This amount of points being dropped, throwing away games at this stage of the project, this sort of bullshit shouldn't still be happening, and it is. It's still happening, and it just shouldn't be. It simply should not be happening. But that's where we're at. That is where we're at, guys. Yeah, I said it at the time. Those 4 points that we dropped Leeds and Burnley, they're going to haunt us, because that could genuinely be the difference between Champions League football and no Champions League football. Could genuinely be the difference. So yeah, that's looking. That's just looking so costly. It's just looking so costly. But I mean, what can you do? You got to move on, and now we've left ourselves with a mountain to climb. You're left with a mountain to climb. But we're going to have to do it the hard way. We're going to have to dig in and do things the hard way. Let's see what we can do. And look, ultimately, if we miss out, it's not one person's fault. It's a collective responsibility from top to bottom. Ownership, manager, squad, all responsible. Different levels of responsibility. But if we miss out, it's not one individual's fault in terms of a player or whatnot. Newcastle's not a problem for me. Because Newcastle at home, their record at Stamford Bridge is diabolical. I mean, I know our home record is not good this season, but Newcastle's record at the Bridge is poor, and Newcastle's away form is dreadful in general. So I don't worry too much about Newcastle's away form. But I wasn't that worried about Leeds or Burnley, and look what happened. So right now, you can't be too confident heading into any Chelsea games. You can't be too confident heading into any of our games right now. That's just the way it is, guys. That's just the way it is. Unfortunately, you can never be too confident heading into these kinds of games. Never be too confident. But yeah, that's where we are. We are exactly. We're the masters of our own downfall. The masters of our own downfall. Simple as that. Whereas a collective responsibility, main responsibility on directors and ownership, players, manager. If we miss out on top 5, the manager is at the bottom of that level of responsibility after players and ownership. But we have to believe. We have to believe, because otherwise there's no point. But it is backs against the wall. It's looking very, very difficult. That was the case under Maresca. That was definitely the case under Maresca. We haven't played any big games to know whether that's going to be the same case under Rossinia, but we will find out now. We will find out now in this run. We will 100% find out. I don't know why that's like that. Why was I hearing myself there? Yeah. And we do have a poor record against the big teams. I was touched on this at the top of the show. Like, we haven't beaten Arsenal for 5 years. We haven't won at Man United for 12 or 13 years. We haven't won at the Etihad since Tuchel. We haven't won at Anfield in God knows how long. Villa Park, our last win outside of the FA Cup game under Poch, I can't remember. So yeah, it's not looking great, chat. It's not looking great, chat. Left back, I'm playing Hatto. I play Hatto at the weekend. I play Hatto left back at the weekend. I think the Gusto left back thing wasn't really doing it for me. I don't think that was working personally. I don't think that was working. So yeah, we'll obviously see on that. We will obviously see. Chat, keep smashing up the likes as well. We're 79 likes, and let's get this as close to 100 likes as we can. On the weekend, it needs to be... I'd go Sarr and Chalobah. I'm happy with either one, as long as it's not tossing, but I would personally go Sarr and Chalobah. I'd personally go Sarr and Chalobah. And then James at right back. Yeah, James at right back. No, I don't think we will. Yeah, bro, it's about quality, though. It's about quality at the end of the day. It's 100% about the quality. That's the most important thing. Bro, I'd rather play Hatto at left back than Kukurella. I'd rather play Hatto at left back than Kukurella. You need a left footer. For me, you've got to be playing a left footer. You've got to be playing a left footer at left back. Or I mean a natural left-sided player at left back. You have to. That's what you have to do. But hey, we'll wait and see, chat. We will wait and see. Let's have a look if anything else has happened. Let's have a look if anything's happened. Doesn't look like it. It doesn't look like it. Does not look like it. Oh, do you know what? I don't mind Gusto. I actually like him. I don't think he's a bad player. But I don't want to see him playing left back. I don't want to see him playing left back. So yeah, look, there's defensively there's some big decisions that Rossinier needs to make. So there's some big decisions that need to be made from a defensive point of view. There's really big decisions that need to be made from an attacking standpoint as well. Yeah, chat. I'm going to round this one out here. Big up to everyone who's locked in. Appreciate each and every single one of you. Please make sure you smash that like button on the way out. Subscribe if you're new around here as well. That would be greatly appreciated. But yeah, run the likes up, subscribe. I will catch you lot again very, very soon. We've got some good content coming ahead of the Arsenal game. So make sure you stay tuned in for that one. And I will catch up with you lot again very, very soon. Enjoy the rest of your Tuesday afternoon. And yeah, 4:30 Sunday we play Arsenal. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday afternoon, guys. Smash the like, subscribe, up the Chelsea, and I'm out. Love.